There's one new rule in NCAA Division I football this year. Freshmen are allowed to play in up to 4 games without having to burn a redshirt season, and the new rule is already coming into play a little bit of a way, strange way, for South Dakota State. So Tom, what's the deal with that?
It kind of is a strange way it played out. The Jacks, of course, played 2 freshmen in that game at Iowa State last Saturday, and the game was canceled, so you would think that it wouldn't count against those guys. But you would be wrong, and that is not the case. 2 guys, tight end Blake Coons and running back C.J. Wilson, were both in for at least 1 snap at Iowa State. And the Missouri Valley Conference interpretation of the new NCAA rule says participation in a contest, even if it's canceled, still counts toward competition for the student athlete. The new 4-game redshirt rule falls under this rule, so those 2 guys lose a game. Now there is, of course, the possibility those 2 guys would have played more than 4 games anyway and would not have redshirted, but the Jacks now have 1 less game to make that determination.
Makes me mad because the stats don't count for that game.
Nothing else does, no.
So you played, but you have 0 stats and you lost the game.
Although there were a couple of Iowa State suspensions that they said were served in that game. So it's
well, all right. Anyways,
you never know what the NCAA
you never know. Moving on, I mean, talking about those guys that might be losing their redshirt season, but the starting lineups for the Jacks, what are the
couple interesting things. One on defense, Brandon Schneider is number 27. He did start at safety at Iowa State. He is the transfer from the University of Iowa, playing his senior season with the Jacks. Just joined him 5 weeks ago, but he and Micaiah Slade started at safety. Most likely will do it again this Sunday. And offensively, Eddie Miller on the offensive line. He's number 54, did start at right guard. So there's 3 South Dakota guys on the O-line right now. You got Miller, Evan Greenway from Yankton, and Wes Janant from Parkston at center. And all in all, the Jacks have 11 starters who played high school football in South Dakota.
Well, that is pretty cool, little home state pride. But looking to Saturday, the real season opener and the home opener for South Dakota State. Montana State coming to take on the Jacks, and they played last year in Bozeman. It was a pretty interesting game.
Great atmosphere. It was a great game. Jacks led the whole way, won 31-27. SDSU had a big lead in the 3rd quarter, had to hold off a Montana State comeback. Taryn Christian ran for 2 touchdowns. Chase Vinatieri, of course, had that fake field goal for a touchdown. Dallas Goddard and Jake Winicky combined for 16 catches in this game, but no touchdowns. And all of the guys from Montana State that scored in this game are not on the team this year. Their leading receiver from last year graduated. Their 2nd leading receiver was injured in spring practice. And their quarterback from last year, as we talked about yesterday, is being held out because of grades. So the SDSU coaches do have the film from Montana State's win last week against Western Illinois, but a lot of new faces in new places for Montana State and South Dakota State without the advantage of having played a game last week. We'll see what happens.
All right, that's coming up 6 p.m. live right here on Midco Sports Network. Tom Nieman, Elena Lanson on the sidelines, and Hank McCall with you, the former Jack, as the analyst. All right, thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Steve.